Stephen Coreno, KO Art of Sports. We're here with the one and only Eddie Hearn. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. I mean, how can you not be? Look at that out there.
Beautiful day out here in San Diego.
And this is where we need to do a fight as well. Amazing.
Man, I mean, you're already doing a stadium in Guadalajara. Was that coming from the boss? Was that coming from Canelo? Like,
Absolutely.
look, it's the anniversary.
Yes.
I got to give back to the hometown.
Yeah. You know, my job is just to make things happen after instruction. And Eddie Reynoso said to us, what's next? He's coming back from the injury. Said you've got a mandatory in John Ryder. Obviously he wants to avenge the Dimitri Bivol defeat. But I said there's offers from the Middle East, there's London, there's of course Vegas, and there's SoFi, which we looked at, and they said, look, we'd love to bring an event back to Guadalajara. The issue with that is the money was much less. But he didn't care. He wanted to bring an event back to his people. And you could see that at the press conference earlier this week. Real emotion from him, looking at his family and friends, knowing, I can't believe I'm fighting here in my hometown. And you know, he should be respected for that.
Man, John Ryder is coming off of Danny Jacobs' win, Zach Parker, right. But I feel like people aren't giving this fight the mega fight that normally Canelo fights, kind of the attention that they deserve, right? The energy that they normally get. But you know, he did fight Plant. He did lose to Bivol, and then finished the trilogy with Golovkin. I mean, is it we're just kind of bloodthirsty? Boxing fans are bloodthirsty, maybe.
I don't think we should tell ourselves this is a mega fight. It's a very big fight in front of 50,000, where Canelo Alvarez, one of the biggest stars in the sport, is defending his undisputed world championship against his mandatory challenger that he has to. You know, and the last 4 fights have been Billy Joe Saunders, Caleb Plant, Dimitri Bivol, and Gennady Golovkin. I mean, what do you have to do to get, like, and you know, some people sort of talk about, they give their opinion, but based on kind of bitterness and hatred rather than actually looking at the facts.
You're talking about Oscar? Because Oscar has issues with so many English fighters.
Oscar has issues, yeah, that's a good point. But like, yeah, but if you look at it, like, as much as Oscar dislikes Saul, right, and probably vice versa, let's just break down the facts. His last 4 fights have been Billy Joe Saunders in an unified world championship fight in front of 75,000 at the Dallas Cowboys, Caleb Plant for undisputed at T-Mobile, Dimitri Bivol, the same person that Oscar criticised because it was a stupid match, because it was such a difficult fight that he couldn't win, and then Gennady Golovkin. And now all of a sudden you have to fight your mandatory challenger, who's coming off a Danny Jacobs win, Zach Parker wins, who you have to fight. And apparently Canelo Alvarez doesn't fight anybody. I mean, you know, you really should respect boxing. And it's time that Oscar De La Hoya started respecting Canelo Alvarez. Because I'll tell you something now, without Canelo Alvarez, Golden Boy wouldn't even have a business. So, and Oscar knows what a great fighter Sal is. Oscar knows what a great competitor he is. And I don't like it. And it doesn't really have a lot to do with me, but I don't like it because I know Saul and I know what he's about. He's probably the most purest, fiercest competitor I've ever met. More money than God, and still gets up and trains every day like a dog and wants to win. And I respect that so much.
Speaking of that, I know he really wants to get that Bivol rematch. Is that part of the plans for the rest of the year? Is that obviously everything goes well with Ryder for Canelo, and is the Bivol rematch maybe all but set in stone with that victory?
Yeah, I mean, that's the instruction for me, which was John Ryder, and then we must avenge that defeat. That fight's still got work to do, but as I said, I work off instructions by my bosses, who are Sal and Eddie. And they told me to make this fight in Guadalajara. Well, they wanted the fight in Guadalajara, and now they want the Bivol rematch. And then, you know, next year, I think if David Benavidez beats Caleb Plant, I think that's a massive fight as well. Who knows?
He'd be next in line if he were to beat Caleb Plant.
I think, you know, obviously it's down to them. But again, this is, you know, Saul. Once someone starts getting those wins like that, and then the fight becomes massive, he has no problem. No problem. Of course, he's always going to want the right deal. He's a businessman as well as a fighter. But there's no reason why he wouldn't fight David Benavidez if he beats Caleb Plant. But my instructions are, I want Bivol, and I want to avenge that defeat.
Do you see Benavidez beating Caleb Plant?
I think if Benavidez fights off emotion, which there seems to be quite a lot of in that fight, I think he might get beat. Because I think Caleb's got a very sharp brain, very good boxer. But I do favour Benavidez in the fight.
I want to get into Anthony Joshua, man. You just visited him in Texas. I know that gym is hot, and it's Texas too, is humid, so I'm sure everyone was making weight in there. What difference do you see out of AJ being now with Derrick James?
Well, I see a guy that's worked very hard. He was very tired yesterday after a long camp out there. I mean, it's hard to explain to you the difference in the camps that I saw. On one side, he was at the Institute of Sport in England with lots of people and 10 rings and the Olympic setup and scientists and then I went to Derrick James's gym, which is just extremely humble and all you need, and that's the thing. And I think that it's just made AJ realise, Errol Spence was in there yesterday, and I think he was sparring the other day, did 11 rounds. He hasn't even got a fight. It's just hard work, and I feel like the problem with back home in England in that setup was he was almost like God. He didn't want it to be that way, but he would walk in. He would walk in, and he would be in a situation where everyone would say, "What do you want to do, AJ?" Now he's just being told. He's worked really hard and he's ready to fight on April 1st.
Can't wait to see it, man. Thank you so much, Eddie. Much appreciated.